All right, welcome back, everyone,
Yeah, glad to be back.
for another deep dive.
Deep dive.
Today, we're going to be looking at a platform called tradesafe.in.
Okay, trade safe.
And as a little caveat, all of our information for this deep dive is coming from tradesafe.in themselves.
Oh,
So think of it less like, an objective analysis and more like, well, we're diving deep into their marketing materials
hello.
to see, what is it they're trying to do? How are they trying to position themselves? And what can we learn about the broader world of business and online commerce and all that?
That makes sense, yeah.
So to kick things off, one of the things that they highlight right away is that they helped a wholesaler in Mumbai recover 100,000 rupees
Wow.
that had been, basically stolen through fraud.
That's a significant chunk of change.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
So that right away kind of sets the stage for, this is a platform that is trying to tackle a real problem.
absolutely.
And it's not just about, theoretical ideas. It's about like actual money that's being recovered, practical solutions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So before we go any further, what is TradeSafe.in? How would you describe it in a nutshell?
So tradesafe.in, it's a digital platform that allows businesses, especially I think small to medium businesses, to report fraudulent activity, access this database of known fraudsters, and like you said, they send out alerts about specific cases, really.
So it's almost like if you can imagine like a Yelp, but instead of reviewing restaurants, you're reviewing like business partners.
Ah,
Or you're reporting like, hey, this person or this company, watch out for them. They tried to scam me.
yeah, I like that analogy. Yeah, it's like a trust rating for businesses.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
So some of the key features that they highlight is that it's anonymous.
Oh, okay.
So you can report, somebody or some company without fear of retaliation.
That's huge, yeah. Especially for, like I said, those smaller businesses who might be going up against someone much larger than them.
Yeah, exactly.
Power dynamics and all that. Yeah, it levels the playing field a little bit.
Right.
They also really emphasize community support.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not just you, reporting something and then it goes into the void.
Right.
It's like the idea is that you're part of a network of businesses that are all kind of looking out for each other.
Right. Yeah, there's strength in numbers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you think about it, fraud thrives in the shadows,
Right.
right? So if you shine a light on it, make it more public,
Huh?
it makes it much harder for these scammers to operate.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the last thing they highlight is data privacy and security, which, these days is a big deal.
Absolutely.
Because if you're going to report fraud, you're probably sharing some sensitive information.
Yeah, you're giving them the details of what happened, maybe financial records, contracts.
Exactly.
So you need to know that that information is being protected.
Yeah, so they seem to be hitting on like all the major points, like anonymity, community, security, like it's all there. It's a comprehensive approach.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But let's dive into some of the specifics now.
Yep.
Like, how does this actually work in practice?
Great.
One thing they talk about are the pricing plans.
Ah,
So they've got a few different options, and they're actually running a promotion right now where it's free until February 28th, 2025.
wow, free. That's a pretty good incentive.
It is, yeah, to kind of get people on
Get
board.
people in the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, aside from the free trial, what are the different plans and who are they for?
All right, so they have 3 tiers: basic, pro, and premium.
Okay.
The basic plan, it's like the entry level, right?
Uh,
It allows you to highlight like
Uh.
2 fraud cases for a week.
okay. So if you're a smaller business and you've had, a couple of bad experiences, this is kind of like your way to get the word out.
Yeah, it's like dipping your toes in the water, seeing how the platform works.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if you need more, there's the pro plan.
Okay. What's Pro? Pro is their most popular option. And with that one, you can highlight 5 fraud parties for 7 days.
Oh, okay, so that's a significant jump
Yeah.
in terms of visibility.
Exactly. So maybe you're dealing with multiple cases at once, or you're in an industry where fraud's a bigger problem.
Right.
Then you need that extra firepower, so to speak.
Yeah, you need to get the word out there.
Exactly.
And then for, I guess, like the big players, there's the premium plan.
Yeah, premium is for the companies that are, really serious about tackling fraud.
Right.
It lets you highlight 9 fraud parties for a whole month.
Wow. Okay, so you're putting them on blast for a significant amount of
You're
time.
making a statement, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
a big red flag, like, stay away from these guys.
Yeah, yeah, buyer beware.
Exactly.
So it seems like they've got options for everyone.
Yeah, they've really tried to cater to different needs and budgets.
Yeah, and that's really interesting because it shows that they're not just targeting like one specific type of business,
They're
right?
trying to build this, like, broad platform that can be used by, you know, anyone from a small shop owner to a multinational corporation.
Yeah, it's like a community for anyone who's ever been burned by fraud or wants to prevent it from happening in the first place.
Yeah, and that idea of community is really central to what they're doing, right?
Absolutely. It's not just about reporting fraud. It's about sharing information, supporting each other, and ultimately creating a safer business environment for everyone.
Yeah, so it's almost like they're trying to, like, crowdsource trust.
Yeah, I like that. Crowdsourcing trust. That's a good way to put it.
But, the question is, like, can you really crowdsource trust?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We'll have to delve into that a little deeper as we go.
Yeah, because there's a lot to unpack there.
Definitely.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's go back to that case study of the Mumbai wholesaler who recovered their 100,000 rupees.
Okay, yeah.
Like, how did that actually happen? Well, from what I gather, the wholesaler had been scammed by a supplier, and they reported it on tradesafe.
Okay.
And then other businesses on the platform saw that report, and they started sharing it, spreading the word.
Oh, so it's like the more people who know about it, the harder it is for the scammer to hide?
Exactly. And in this case, the pressure from the community was enough to get the supplier to return the money.
Wow. That's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, it really shows the power of collective action.
Yeah, and it also highlights the importance of time, right?
What?
Like the sooner you report fraud, the more likely you are to recover your losses.
Absolutely. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes.
Yeah, because the trail goes cold, the scammer might disappear.
Exactly. So time is of the essence.
It is, yeah. So it seems like TradeSafe.in is trying to create this environment where, you don't have to wait to report fraud.
Right.
You can do it immediately and then leverage the power of the community to help you resolve the situation.
Yeah, it's like a rapid response system for fraud.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay, I like that.
So we've talked about what TradeSafe.in is. We've talked about some of their key features, their pricing plans, and even a real-life example of how it works.
Right.
But let's zoom out a little bit and talk about their vision for the future. Like,
Yeah.
where do they see this platform going?
Well, from their marketing materials, they're aiming pretty high.
Okay.
They want to expand their coverage to more industries and regions.
Okay, so it's not just going to be limited to, a few specific sectors.
Right, they want to be the go-to platform for fraud prevention globally.
Wow, that's ambitious.
It is, yeah.
And they're also talking about developing advanced analytics and reporting tools.
So they're not just relying on user reports. They want to use technology to analyze trends,
Yeah.
identify patterns.
Right, so they can be more proactive in identifying potential fraud.
Exactly, like a fraud early warning system.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting.
And they're even looking at partnerships with legal and financial institutions.
Okay, so they're trying to create this like whole ecosystem.
Yeah, like a one-stop shop for fraud prevention and recovery.
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable.
It is, yeah.
But, as with any ambitious project, there are bound to be challenges.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, can they really scale this platform to a global level?
That's a big question.
It is, yeah.
And can they maintain that sense of community as they grow?
Right, because as the platform gets bigger, it's harder to keep that personal touch.
Exactly. So they'll need to find ways to foster those connections even as they expand.
Yeah. And that's something we're going to be exploring further in the next part of our deep dive.
Yeah, we're just scratching the surface here.
We are, yeah, there's a lot more to discuss.
Definitely. I think what's really fascinating about TradeSafe is it's tapping into like a fundamental need in business, right? Like this whole idea of trust.
Oh, yeah. I mean, trust is like the bedrock of, well, pretty much any relationship, but especially in business.
Right, exactly. And, in the past, you'd build trust through like personal connections, your network, referrals.
Right, right. Like, somebody who knows somebody who's worked with that company, you get a sense of, okay, they're legit.
Exactly. But that all kind of falls apart in the online world,
Oh, yeah.
You're dealing with people you've never met, maybe halfway across the world. How do you know who to trust?
You're relying on, like, online reviews or testimonials, which, let's be honest, can be easily manipulated. So
Exactly.
you need something more, something more robust, something more, well, trustworthy.
And that's where I think a platform like TradeSafe comes in. It's like trying to create a system for establishing trust in this digital global marketplace.
But I mean, even with a system like this, like, are we just shifting the trust from like individuals to the platform itself?
That's a good point.
Like, are we putting all our eggs in one basket, so to speak?
Yeah. Yeah. And that raises questions about, how transparent is the platform? How are they making decisions? Are there any biases built into the system?
Right, because ultimately it's still people who are running this platform making choices about what information to highlight, what to investigate, all that.
Absolutely. So there's always that potential for human error or even, malicious intent.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like technology itself is inherently good or bad, it's how it's used, right?
Exactly.
And that's something we have to keep in mind when we're talking about any kind of online platform, especially one that's dealing with something as sensitive as fraud.
Right, because the stakes are high. We're talking about people's livelihoods, their businesses.
And their reputations, too. I mean, if you're falsely accused of fraud, that can be incredibly damaging.
It can ruin your business, yeah.
So there needs to be a balance, right?
Yeah,
Between like transparency and accountability, but also fairness and due process.
absolutely. It's a complex issue,
It is.
and there's no easy answers.
Yeah. But it seems like TradeSafe is at least trying to address these concerns.
Yeah, they're aware of the potential pitfalls.
They talk about, having a verification process, investigating claims, making sure the information is accurate.
And they emphasize data privacy and security, which is, crucial in this day and age.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't want your sensitive information being leaked or misused.
Especially not when it comes to something like fraud, which can be so personal and damaging.
Right. So it seems like they're trying to build a system that is both effective in combating fraud, but also responsible and ethical.
Yeah, they're trying to find that sweet spot.
And that's, I think, what makes this platform so interesting to study.
Certainly.
It's not just about the technology itself, it's about the social and ethical implications of that technology.
Right. It's about how we as a society are grappling with these new challenges, these new ways of interacting and doing business.
And it's about finding solutions that are, well, both innovative and humane.
Exactly. Solutions that benefit everyone, not just a select few.
And that's a conversation that's worth having.
Absolutely.
Because it's not just about TradeSafe. It's about the future of business, the future of trust, the future of how we interact online.
And the future of how we protect ourselves from those who would seek to exploit us.
Right. Because fraud is not going away anytime soon.
Unfortunately not.
It's just going to keep evolving as technology evolves.
Exactly. So we need to be thinking about these issues, being proactive, not reactive.
Right. And that's really the heart of what this deep dive is all about.
Absolutely.
It's about raising awareness, asking tough questions, and exploring potential solutions.
And hopefully in the process, making ourselves a little bit smarter and a little bit safer.
Yeah, exactly. Because knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely.
And the more we know about the challenges we face, the better equipped we are to overcome them.
And the more we can work together to create a more ethical and equitable marketplace for everyone.
I mean, it's a big vision, right? This whole thing they're trying to do with TradeSafe.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
It makes you wonder, like, are they being overly optimistic?
Well, yeah, I mean, there are definitely going to be people out there saying, technology can't solve everything.
Right. Like, fraud is ultimately a human problem, right?
Yeah, it comes down to dishonesty, greed, a willingness to take advantage of others.
Yeah. And no app or algorithm can completely eliminate that.
Exactly.
Huh.
But I think what TradeSafe is trying to do goes beyond just catching the bad guys.
Yeah, it's about changing the environment they operate in, making it harder for them to hide, harder to get away with it.
Right. It's about creating a culture where fraud is less likely to happen in the first place.
So it's not just about punishing fraud, it's about preventing it.
Yeah, and I think that's where the real potential lies.
Yeah.
Like if you can create this network of businesses that are all looking out for each other, sharing information, holding each other accountable.
It kind of raises the bar for everyone, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you know you're being watched, you're less likely to try something shady.
It makes you think about like the role of reputation in the future of business.
Oh, absolutely. I think we're moving towards a world where your online reputation is everything.
Like your track record, your history, it's all out there for everyone to see.
And it's not just businesses, it's individuals too.
Right. Like we're already seeing that with online reviews, social media,
Yeah, your digital footprint follows you everywhere.
and now with platforms like TradeSafe, it's extending to the business world in a big way.
So the question is, like, is that a good thing?
Right. Is this the kind of world we want to live in?
Where everyone is constantly being scrutinized, judged based on their past actions.
It's a double-edged sword, for sure.
Yeah, on the one hand, it promotes transparency, accountability, which are good things.
But it also raises concerns about privacy, fairness, due process.
And the potential for misuse. What if someone tries to weaponize this information to damage a competitor or settle a personal grudge?
Those are all valid concerns, definitely things to think about.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers.
But I think that's what makes it so fascinating to explore. We're talking about the intersection of technology, business, ethics, society. It's all intertwined.
And it's evolving rapidly, like who knows what the future holds.
Yeah. But one thing's for sure, platforms like TradeSafe are pushing the boundaries, forcing us to confront these questions head on.
They're making us think about what kind of world we want to create.
And that's a conversation worth having, even if it gets a little uncomfortable at times.
It is. It's how we learn, how we grow, how we build a better future.
So, for all of you listening out there, we want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, what do you think about all this?
Does a platform like TradeSafe make you feel more confident about doing business in today's world?
Or does it raise red flags for you?
Head over to our website, leave a comment, let us know what you think.
We want to hear from you.
And in the meantime, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Until next time.